Okay, so the topic is what is Redux toolkit. So, see what happens is basically we need Redux to share the data between one component and another component. For example, in this there is something called center component or JSX, which is here, and this component it will hit an API, some data comes up and it consumes that data. The same data I want this to view the process overview.jsx. You can say process view JSX also hit an API and get the data. That is a natural question. But the thing is, here we are showing some column. The first row data comes in using the data. We are showing a column. You are showing a table. First row of the table is the data what is coming from API. So process view.jsx and center column JSX components are pulled to the dashboard, for instance. And in process view.jsx, I want to see the first row all the time. So if I hit the API in process view.jsx, when I see there will be a delay. So first row here will be different. If I use two different APIs to get the same data, I mean, so you got it. So the thing is, whatever the data I get here in center column.jsx, I want process view.js to use the same data from center column.jsx. Center column is getting the data from API. Whatever the data it's getting, I want that data to send to process viewer.jsx. Send as in process overview.jsx must take the data from center column.jsx. So this is the concept. So how to achieve this is first go to a root level index.js. Main thing is use this provider, React Redux provider. Use this persist gate from persist gate integration React. We are using persist gate because when we reload an application, basically the Redux state would go empty. To avoid that, we are using persist gate, and we are using store and persister from store.configure store, which is nothing but this one, store.configure store. So we are using store, this one, this store, and we are using configure store as well. Store comma, wait a minute. No, not, I'm talking about, yeah, this persister, yeah, this one. So we are using this and this in our main index.js, which is coming from configure store.js. Why we are using stories? Basically, this here where all the data from center column will be sent, and process view.jsx, which needs the data, will be taken from store.js. So now we have this provider. So this is the basic syntax. Entire app we are covering with the provider, so that any component that falls under app, for instance, you see we are using this dashboard header, and if you see the dashboard, we are calling that components. You see process view, segment, temperature, center column, this all falls under app.js. So whatever the data that falls in this process center column will be linked to app.js, and this store is connected. Okay, now we'll close this the main root level index.js. First thing is we'll go to center column.jsx. So what's happening here is there is some data. What is that data? I'll show you. Okay, we have this patch. Okay, See, we use dispatch to send the data from this file. So there is some data here which I'm supposed to send using a dispatch. These are the data. Center of this is a API response. Its segment profile, its action status. E-loading is what the local data I'm using true and false based on some conditions. You see this. See the set state. Here where somewhere is changing, you say this is setting to false based on the API response. So like that it is used. Okay, so now the question is what data I'm sending. Correct. This is the data I'm sending. So this data actually, I'm supposed to send this data, the right side stuff, the values. So now you may ask what is this temperature, segment temperature, action status, loading and all. So these data's center cake segmental profile, we are renaming it to segmental profile. Center cake dot action, which is whatever the data I'm storing in a key called action status and loading. So where it is storing, from where it is coming, don't know. Nothing to worry. You remember there's something called center column dot slice, which is defined in the same level as center column dot JSX. So actually we are sending from center column dot JSX to the center column dot slice. If you open it, it's again using create slice from Redux toolkit. What does it do is it stores the states. Initially they will be empty. In loading by default it is true. I mean I'm setting it to true. So you see this, I'm creating a variable called temperatures. Vi is just names, like you can give any name. You see vi dot segmental profile is equal to action dot payload dot segmental profile. So payload action, v action status loading. So we are sending from center column to the slice. You see this here where it gets stored. Here it will be stored, and these values again in turn will goes to this action segmental profile and all, which is this. This thing will be empty. Now this will be filled with the data that we are sending from center column. How? So this is called center column slice. So we are calling that in center column. You see this, and we are calling this temperatures. What is the temperatures? Is this one? We are calling this one. Okay, so whenever data is sent from center column, you see this. I'll copy this temperatures. See, dispatch is sending to the temperature. I'm sending these data. The right side data I'm sending to the temperature, storing in this left side of temperature of the center column slice. So I'll open for the convenience. See the left side I'm sending this data, which will come in action payload dot segmental profile. This data will store in segmental profile of action payload segmental profile of slice, which again in turn gets stored in VI segmental profile, which is nothing but this empty array will be stored with this value when the dispatch run. Same thing for action status and loading. You see VI action, VI status, VI loading will be stored like this. Okay, this is how they are connected. Now the thing is temperatures, exports, column sliced out actions. Okay, these two are connected now. Now we'll close this. Now we assume that I want some process overview. This page to access that data. You can see nowhere it's mentioned center column.jsx or center column slice.jsx. Nowhere it's mentioned. But there is some weird line that is state login.segmental profile. You can see segmental temperature is equal to use selector segmental profile, and action is nothing but state login action status. You see, it's just like whatever the data we have here. action status loading, the same thing what the process where is getting the data action status. But from where it is getting, because in the process overview there is no way center column or center column slice is called. So what exactly does it do is, before we are utilizing this in process overview, you see it's using something called use selector from React Redux. You see, what does this use selector does? Use selector does is close the rest of the things now. What does use selector is, in the root level, the under SRC, we create a folder called store. In the under store, there will be two files, index.js and configure.js. I'll open side by side. Okay, I created index.js and configure.store.js. So what index.js does is, it get the data whatever is there is intercolumn slice, and create a reducer called login reducer, that is store folder index.js file. You see, this is what it is doing. So now whatever it is in this intercolumn slice will be stored in this store. Same way we have configure store.js as well. It will take this slice, the data whatever is there in the center column slice, it will store in a reducer called login. You may ask why it's already stored here, why we need to store here. Basically, whenever the browser reloads, the data will go off. So to retain the data, we are using this persist reducer. So it will remain there only. That's why we are using this. So the center column slice, which we are calling from the data, it will be stored in a reducer called login, like how we are calling login reducer. So basically, we use this reducer. So now you got it right. We are this is the reducer we are calling login. In the login reducer, all the data gets stored, whatever is that in center column slice. So what is that in center column slice is nothing but again the same data. Segmental profile, action, status, and loading, which is coming from the center column.js because it is sent via dispatch. We will close this, and now you see the process overview. How we are using this is, we are calling something called use selector. So what use selector does is, use selector, whenever we use selector, it gets in touch with this configure store, our Redux store. So we say it will go to use selector state, which is nothing but this center column slice, the login. You see the state.login.segmental profile. So state means the control will obviously will come here. This is the state. Dot login. So we don't find any login here, right? State means in the combined reducer, this is the login. State.login, it comes here. And segmental profile, there's no segmental profile, there is center column slice. We click here, you see it will go to a, sorry, segmental column slice, which is this one. If you click on here, okay, okay. So it is login dot segmental profile. What it is, so center column login. So login means center column slice. Get it? What is center column slice? This is center column slice. Correct. Login segmental profile. What is segmental profile? Initially it will be empty. Then some data will receive from center column.js. So that data will be sent to the segmental profile in process overview. Same thing will happen for, you see, the state login action and all, which is again hitting this configure store state.login. State will come, the control will come here, login will be this, which is nothing but this slice, and login segment, you can see it's an action. So you go to this file, it will go to action, whatever the data here, it will be stored here. Get it? So this is the how the data is coming, flowing from center column to process overview using Redux. So that data we are utilizing somewhere in the we'll display or we'll print or we'll do whatever is required. You see this that length. So this is the basic concept of Redux toolkit or the entire flow of Redux toolkit.